morning. This is the last session before lunch, so hopefully everybody pays a little bit of attention to it. I'll talk about kind of recent trends in technology and culture and how they inform each other, how we function today. I identified three different I'm looking at three different phenomena: video games, game modes, hacking, both virtual, physical, and making thinking and culture that is very prevalent there, and how they start informing this kind of crowdsource environment we function. And if we don't pay attention to those three categories, because there's a little bit of artificiality in dividing them, but ultimately they kind of are impacting the democratization of means of production and forms of communication, knowledge sharing, and reappropriation of public domain. I'll try to kind of demonstrate how this happens. Again, words like democratization are not necessarily the same meaning as we often use in general. It's more kind of card deck shifting of people who kind of changing the upward mobility, social, and who are kind of centrist people, centrist for the knowledge part. In case of video game, for those people who play games, video games, they know that there's a lot of the whole culture of redefining what the game is. You may get a kind of plain vanilla game, and then you won't have advantage. It may be more legal, less legal, or completely illegal, but you may want to have your own user interface. The game tells you information that is commonly known, but may not be able to be easy for you to understand or bring together. And you can see this maybe in a large image here with telling you your visibility and relationship with the enemy, or maybe even just giving you very quickly technical information about the enemy, and like in this case of Q34 tag that shows you vulnerability. So what you want to shoot to get the desired result. So it's kind of interesting how people take something like video game and start adjusting, creating their own customization of it, both for advantage, but also in some cases maybe for fun, or in other cases actually kind of the whole movement of working with, in this case, visually impaired people who are colorblind, to define the environment for them separate, so they can actually effectively function within the game environment. Another aspect is this kind of both physical and virtual hacking. I'm showing more like early cases of cultural hacking, not necessarily visual, how people try to affect the built environment to kind of politicize it, but also I think it's kind of bring the cultural discourse and maybe change slightly different than we talked before. And part of it is, it's always a gray line, what is legal, what is not, what is desirable or not. There's a whole culture of billboard hacking. Ron English in New York City is known for this, where you take either actual billboard and change some words to subvert the meaning, or maybe work against the corporate interest in this case, or you do a subtle copy or version of particular billboard, but change the meaning. So people kind of come across, find, and start questioning, like this kind of typical more photograph with the perspective of your feet. But again, it becomes a moment that you may often see and click some moment later how this works. And these things, they are very, many of them are old 80s and 90s, but I think they very nicely connect to the same thing if we don't kind of consider the physical and virtual to be a very different environment, but it's a kind of culture. And what is interesting, there's a lot of adoption both in government in Atlanta, I think it's this one, or Denver, but also in commerce, how you kind of market and use the same kind of language to actually for the corporate part. But it's also a lot of thinking, and we can see this in very old work. I'm not sure here, but it's from like Vodicko Vitro, who was doing projections in buildings, and more right now you have a lot of media, projection mapping, newsformer in Netherlands in a car, and then projecting on the clouds from the power plant. And again, this is this kind of moment of you try to reappropriate what is okay. If the graffiti is not necessarily desirable because you deface the private property, with those kind of things, older 70s, but now more media-based, you have this kind of redefinition of what is acceptable. There's still cultural differences in Europe and US, for example, where the property is much stronger sense, but these are kind of ways of reappropriation of parks. And the third aspect is making tinkering, and this is actually a student of mine who his own project on citing the school, which was the understanding a second why, and he grabbed the headlines. This is from CNN. He basically printed his own version of Invisalign and corrected his orthodontics, the teeth. And you can see example. There's a couple of articles. And what is interesting there is that he didn't invent anything in many ways. But what he did, he just did a good literature review, understood the process, materials that come to it, and just followed himself and on himself. So he would do an imprint, then he would do through the imprint, get an imprint, then he would scan it, and create a number of different versions, kind of progression of the teeth positioning, and ultimately did 3D printing and create this kind of series of Invisalign-like prints. What was interesting in this for me, obviously this is something you experiment on yourself. You cannot do this to others because there are different laws or medical practice and different things come in. But what is interesting is that this kind of hacking, it's not that you invent necessarily a new process. You adapt process because you may not have all the ingredients to do the way people would do. But I think it's Invisalign would do, but he basically followed the process, but then slowly adapted for his needs. And it was interesting that if you want to do this for somebody else, you would have to look at manufacturers and so on, and it would be safer. But if you do it yourself, as a person on yourself, it's a different set of laws. And this is very similar to the situation we have with Airbnb, or we have Uber, that started working with a very different legal and conceptual, even intellectual property paradigm, how these things combine. And I had him for actually last spring for my final digital design studio. And this was happening before, so he got some visibility, and was actually hired by the MIT kind of spin-off Formlabs. So actually we talked, let's do more with the kind of 3D printing. And at the time they actually hired him already, so he got all the machines and a lot of different materials. So we looked for something you can do within school that is not medical practice, and he looked to do kind of replicate the camera. So to do actually physical camera, which are just 3D renderings first to kind of understand the parts and what the goal is, and to print the full camera. And again, this was not really inventing a new process, at least in the beginning. It was looking at the very old traditional cameras that were very minimal on mechanical parts. They were not as sophisticated as today's cameras, and try to put this in a 3D print environment. You don't have springs, but you may have some kind of bending of materials. So it's a little bit of, at some point you start transitioning and inventing new paths for technology, but it's not necessarily everything from scratch. So it's, again, you kind of start with the same technology and you kind of spin off the same way like you would have a mod or some other hacking pieces. And challenges were actually obviously with the lens. You can print lens, but you have to polish. So there's also not obviously, it would not be kind of go the printer with the best quality ready, but you spent time polishing. Obviously there's a lot of ways how you develop support, so you can minimize a kind of impact on the lens. And ultimately, this is where he left my semester last May. Then he started working for the company that does a printer, and he kept working on this particular next version of the camera, version number 4. And then new kind of things happen. It was kind of interesting. You know, you don't have as much control with the shutter and time control. So in many ways you can start designing things into material and into the what it is there, because you cannot do everything. So again, yeah, he emailed me back and asked me how we can solve the problem, and we kind of discussed that maybe the first step would be to actually set up a small ring with Arduino and sensors to understand actually what it does as far as was the time exposure time and so on, so you can actually back design your apertures and so on in the kind of reverse order. And this is again this kind of moment of spinning, because if you stay with the material, you don't have any metal part, you are limited. But at the same time, because you work with this kind of constraint, you start developing something. The benefit is that you can have a couple of different types of resins and a printer, and it's done. It's done plus polishing. So this kind of speaks to, I think, interesting things that maybe GitHub is kind of associated with, is this kind of forking of ideas. You develop things and people take it and do it. And what is kind of interesting for me, it was the kind of coming back to the article that people talk a lot about maybe 6 years ago. What is that? And this was the idea of this big platforms like Facebook and so on, Twitter, kind of overcoming pieces of internet and then just sitting for themselves, and everything, communication, even games, everything happens within. And this connects to the kind of theory of economics, and especially the try to explain how current economy works is kind of long-tail economics, where relatively few solutions or products, even few celebrities, few people get a lot of clicks, a lot of users, a lot of adoption, and then relatively a large portion of products get very small. And this kind of talks a little bit about this kind of similar to Cambrian explosion. We have a lot of possibilities, and then they kind of converge, and then a couple of leaders happen. But there is a lot of this discussion, but there's also a discussion of why somehow we keep inventing how things kind of evolve a little bit, and the people have different theories on this. But I think it's to some of the theories actually it fits the idea that if you keep kind of forking those solutions, like you have Facebook, but then people start developing games, maybe people have other popular games, but they're creating modes. It keeps kind of re-exploding this kind of this genetic or population part. And obviously there's some other thoughts, like the book by James Zarzycki, Wisdom of Crowds, that looks at way how groups communicate and how they make decisions. This is, again, it's not as clear as we think, because sometimes groups are very bad. We know decision by group, design by group may be bad. But what is interesting, he kind of outlines the rules of how, when groups can actually be effective as a kind of collective wisdom, when they are independent, they don't kind of are being controlled by particular 2-3 individuals in a group. And this kind of goes to way how in the media, this is again in the 8 years old Microsoft Windows campaign on PC, where they were kind of taking people's photo, like in one of those two in Times Square, and then project it for 15 seconds. They got a camera. This is something about this is kind of camera. Use your time, date, and you get your 15 seconds of Times Square time. But it's kind of interesting how this is again is being kind of come to users in a sense to bring them as a kind of customers, and this goes into another interesting point of discussion where we fit into this technology. No, just walk to Times Square and they say you want to have photo leader, and they take and you put a phrase. In this case, you put a phrase. Let's say I'm a PC, and then you put this phrase. And I love designer shoes. So you put your phrase there. So in this case, it comes back to the idea of role of users, because it's kind of expanded base for democracy within, but it's also a lot of inert consumers of products. And there's a whole discussion of the place users on both sides culturally, and this is some kind of interesting ad that was running in the past and was saying kind of suggesting that if you are not paying for something, you are not a customer, you are an employee that to be sold. So it's kind of, again, role within a part, and this is the original ad from So it's kind of interesting, one of the perspectives of how users fit to it. There's also the whole group of people who argue on the opposite side, and he talked about the more kind of symbiotic relationship. And it's kind of interesting because some arguments here also makes a lot of sense. If you're not paying, you're not complaining as a customer, which actually is maybe a nice way to launch some ideas, because you kind of don't have this kind of pulling down, and it doesn't have to be always perfect. It's this kind of, again, culture of next version is coming next week, right? Almost the subscription part, and often you don't get maybe necessarily less quality service if you do. But I think it's kind of this part converges again on my favorite app I use this whenever I drive, Waze, that actually kind of goes further with this and makes people both inputs and outputs. In this sense, if you are navigating, you want to know the traffic patterns, you want to know how much, how is the speed, it's 4 miles per hour, there may be some accident there, or traffic, accident here, traffic there. And what is interesting that while you are doing this and watching, they're watching you. So you provide the speed of your car because your phone is moving with the same speed as your car if you're in a car. And if you stop slowly, they may ask you a question, if it's traffic or not. And obviously, if a lot of people around you have followed the same pattern, you can actually understand the speeds. No one wants to input the data, but there's a lot of moment of actually grabbing the data and working with. And these are kind of interesting things that they have both kind of discussions of being you as a product and you as a kind of, maybe not always aware, but a positive person who contributes to things, and then you benefit in the same way. And that's kind of trying to bring back those thoughts about a digital or technological culture, how it starts informing part. It's definitely some sort of democratization of creativity, but democratization may mean different things. It's not like everybody gets to play, but it's really at the same time, some people watch more YouTube than TV. So there's a big shift in who is offering content and who is being heard. It's definitely a different part of the appropriate ownership of public domain. This can be physical by people projecting things, but it's more and more visual. You take things and adapt to you and the position of the way. And I think it's a very different cultural discourse in this sense. I hope I did. Thanks.